Hi, I'm Lisa.
And I'm Suzy, and this is the Coaching Cast. We are the No Nonsense podcast chatting about the things impacting you at work right now, helping you to survive and thrive in today's workplace.
We discuss different topics in each episode, sharing our ideas, hints, and top tips from our experiences of working in the corporate world, running our own businesses, and also being qualified coaches. We also try to have a few laughs along the way too, because taking yourself too seriously is just boring. We really hope you enjoy listening. Today's episode is a very, very special one. It's our 100th episode of the Coaching Cast, a milestone we will be celebrating and reflecting on, as well as saying goodbye for now to the Coaching Cast and to all of you, our incredible loyal CBBs. So stay with us for this very special 100th episode, and we really hope you enjoy it with us. So Suze, how are you feeling today for our 100th episode?
So I feel good. I feel really excited that we're going to get the opportunity to now have a bit of a chat and reflect on the last 100 episodes and the highlights, the funny stories, what we, some of the guests, some of our takeaways. But equally, I am also feeling a little bit sad. Like I feel a little bit emotional that we are also just pausing for now.
Yeah.
It's been a big part of both our lives for like a really long time, like 4 years.
4 years, yeah. I know, it's mad.
Which is mad. And when we first started this, it was COVID. We were in the pandemic. We kind of really focused this on as a resource for people who were working from home to kind of give them some chat. There was a lot of that. Some kind of inspiration, feel connected to something. And obviously now we are thankfully kind of way out of that and in a different, still slightly crazy world. So yeah, it is an end of an era for me and you and what we've built together. But we're taking a little pause for now, having a little regroup, and who knows what the future may hold. So I think just a mixture. I have a bit of a mixture of emotions, let's say.
Yeah.
How about you?
I feel immensely proud, actually. Like, immensely proud. Not many people reach 100 episodes of their podcasts. 100 episodes, that is like incredible. I don't know if I've done 100 of anything.
I know.
That's a lie.
I'm just thinking that for myself.
I mean, I've eaten 100 meals, for sure. I've done more than 100 meals. I've probably drunk more than 100 cups of coffee. No, I'm joking. But like, from a professional stance, 100 episodes. Like when we started out this podcast, we had some great advice from a few podcast pros. And I remember one of the pieces of advice was, are you able at this stage, at the very start, before you've even launched, to think of 100 episodes, like 100 titles?
Yeah.
Because it requires that amount of vision, dedication, creativity. Like there's no point starting a podcast if you can only think of the first 5. It doesn't mean you've got enough it means you haven't got enough to say. There's not enough purpose behind it. Now, I'm not saying you and I could think of 100 episodes when we first started, but I definitely had this gut instinct that we could go the distance and we could create a lot together.
Yeah.
And now that we're here 4 years later, I'm thinking, oh wow, yeah, and we have. And in many ways, I can't believe it's been 4 years. It doesn't feel that long. And yet when you talk about it in the fact it started in COVID, and then I think back to what was going a lot of the time when we were recording this podcast, I was thinking, oh my God, loads of stuff has happened. Loads of stuff's changed. So we hit the topic of change in episode 99, and I shared how much my life has changed many
Yeah.
times over. Well, the podcast has been a consistent throughout a lot of those changes.
Yeah,
It's, you know, and
absolutely.
it's traveled with me. I've been many places with this podcast.
Oh, honestly, I feel like, I think in the kind of, yeah, like maybe the couple of years in where we nicknamed you Jude's Charmers,
Yeah.
because I felt like we were recording this podcast and I was just looking at different parts of the world through your video, your Zoom video. Because, like we were still like had travel restrictions and stuff, like certainly on the early days. And I used to love it because I'd be like, oh, where's she dining in from today?
Yeah, because we've definitely recorded this podcast while I've been in different hotel rooms. We've done a few
Oh,
of those.
there's been a few hotel
Yeah,
rooms.
yeah. There's been a
Yeah.
few hotel rooms, and for me, a few challenges with internet and noise and backdrops. I definitely went through a guilt phase. Do you remember when I was recording it at times during COVID and I was traveling and I felt really guilty and as though I had a responsibility to everybody else to not travel. It was bizarre. But that was the kind of things that COVID caused you, to think about. Like I actually think when we launched this podcast, I didn't make mention of the fact that I was in South Africa at all. And I was. When we launched the podcast, the first 3 or 4 episodes were recorded out of here.
Yeah, well, that's obviously when we first launched the podcast. Also, I was in hospital. The
Yes.
so for any like newer listeners who might not have listened from the very start, which is fair, um, the night before no, the day before, sorry, we launched the first kind of 3 episodes because we dropped them all in one go
Mm.
for the podcast. I was in hospital because my appendix had, in your words, erupted.
It erupted
Um,
here.
in medical terms, had ruptured. And I was quite significantly poorly in hospital. And poor Lisa had to like run the show in terms of the launch for the first kind of few days because I suddenly was otherwise engaged. And yeah, I can remember actually being like led in my hospital bed and it had gone live and being like,
Mm.
oh God, is anyone even going to listen to this? Is anyone going to even care? Like, does this even sound okay? Um, so yeah, and when I think of that time, yeah, it feels like a really long time ago.
Yeah. It's nuts, isn't it? It feels so long ago. I feel that way about COVID in general, though. It just feels like another lifetime. Not necessarily a
Yeah.
life I feel like I lived. It's very surreal. I feel very disconnected from it. Um, but yes, I mean, 100 episodes. And yeah, I've recorded this in so many different places and different homes. I've had a lot of different backdrops for sure,
A
a lot
lot
of
of
stuff been going
backdrops.
on. A lot
I've
of
just
stuff,
had
yeah.
one consistent backdrop. Not as exciting. So what have been some of your personal favorite bits or favorite episodes or highlights of
Oh
the
God.
last 100?
What have been some of my favorite bits? There's so many. What have I mean, like, it's gonna sound probably a bit cheesy, but like some of my favorite bits of when you and I've just been having candid conversations and I've been in hysterics about one of your stories or one of my stories, or we've just had a bit of a laugh about what's going on for us. I've also really enjoyed talking now quite candidly about some of the hardest experiences I've had in my career. With hindsight and space and distance, you can talk about these things with a different perspective and maybe with a bit more humor. And I've enjoyed that. I think actually a lot of the time I found that really therapeutic. Because I do really appreciate humor and humor to get through tough stuff. And so I think that's been a big part of the podcast for me, especially during those like COVID years. There was a lot of anxiety for me around that time. And so being able to catch up with you and be on here and chatting through things and having a bit of a giggle, that was always really, really great. Um, and I think we've had so many brilliant guests. I know we're going to talk about guests, but it's been amazing to meet so many people through this podcast
Yeah.
and learn so much from different people. I've really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed that. I think one of my favourite episodes we ever did was it our 50th when we had our listeners join us.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
was really good. We had three of our CBBS join us on the program, and that was really good fun. And we were talking about being a woman in leadership and backing ourselves. It's such an important conversation. It's a conversation I still have regularly, and I advocate quite a lot in my work as a coach and trainer, especially
Yeah.
in the capacity of what I do in the utility sector for women. But that was a really great episode, and it was fun. It was great to have a variety of people and see how that dynamic works on a podcast because there was five of us, but it worked and it was really cool. So that was really nice. Yeah, lots of different good bits. What about you? What have you been your favourite bits or things to highlight?
Oh, so I was, thinking about this, and there is a lot, I'll be honest. I think I really enjoyed the episode with Amelia Sordell. I still think about that to this day. She was so generous with her tips and knowledge and really helpful and interesting stuff. And I really genuinely enjoyed that episode and talking to her. I think the other episode, two other episodes actually that I maybe personally got a lot from. One was when we had Sally Hannah on talking about motherhood and
Mm,
work and the return to work. I think at
yeah.
the time, my son was quite young and a lot of what she was saying really resonated with me and gave me some really interesting kind of perspectives and thoughts, and she shared some brilliant top tips. One of which I remember her sharing us about was when they actually go to school and how much that can change kind of the dynamic and kind of sometimes as a parent you can go through a bit of a evolution, I suppose, around like your own identity with that, especially I think more for mothers.
Mm,
And for some reason that really stuck in my head as well. And I remember thinking about that when my son started school. So that kind of resonated with me. Um, I mean, I also really enjoyed the episode we did with Bev around managing menopause in the workplace.
that was on my
And that,
list of good episodes. Bev Thorogood. Yeah, she was amazing.
she was amazing. And I tell you what stands out for me in that episode was the statistic that she shared in that episode. And I remember it was something ridiculous. I'm probably going to get it wrong now. It was ridiculous. I think about like, was it like 600,000 women a year at that point when we recorded leave the workplace due to menopausal symptoms?
Mm,
And I honestly nearly fell off my chair
yeah, it was a big number. I was up
when she
there.
shared that
Yeah.
statistic because I had no idea of like that impact on the economy, on people, on work. Like, I had no idea it was that
Mm,
sizable. And I
mm,
think we did that episode just before kind of menopause started becoming really mainstream in terms of it being a conversation that people talk about a lot more.
yeah.
And I just remember just being so taken back live while we were talking to her and having to like regroup because that statistic had just blown, like, just was just like, what? Like, whoa,
Yeah.
I just need a minute to really get my head around that. So I
Yeah.
loved that episode. And I know from a listener perspective, we got a lot of feedback on that particular episode with Bev as a
Yeah, we
topic.
did.
I'm so grateful and happy that Bev agreed to come and talk to us about it, and also that we were able to share that with our listeners and give that as a kind of a resource. Um, and I think also some of the highlights for me have been also the conversations that we've just had, where the episodes have just been you and I.
Mm,
When we started this podcast, we really wanted it to feel different to a standard kind of worky self-development business podcast. We wanted it to be like you were tuning in to talk to your mates or work colleagues around what they've been up to at the weekend, and for there to be conversation, for it to feel informal, and then lean into a part where we would do some learning together and we would share some stories and experiences and offer some tips, but also we would have a laugh along the way. And obviously that's where bullshit bingo kind of really evolved from. And I feel like we've managed to do that. And I get a lot of feedback from people who listen to the podcast where they, I think, enjoy that mix, that
mm,
blend of it is just two friends. Like, we are genuinely friends
yeah.
and we've worked together, we've known each other a long time, and we are just generally chatting about our stories, our experiences, offering our tips, and also our mishaps.
Mm. Yeah, 100%. I think people who know us well, when people have spoken to me, they've said they love listening to the two of us and how it sounds like hanging out with us, which is such a lovely compliment because,
Yeah,
people who know us well obviously have that familiarity. And I think I'm really proud that that's translated across the microphone because that, as you
yeah,
said, that was a big principle for us of being ourselves, speaking authentically as we do, just having that casual, informal chat while supporting people to learn through sharing. And that, I think, I agree with you. I feel that is what we've achieved. And it's definitely what people have said to me they've got the sense of from the podcast. And I am really pleased with that. When you think about how we started and all that self-consciousness of what we're going to sound like, are we going to speak any sense? How are we going to do this well? I don't think about it at all now. Like when we record, it's just, I don't
yeah.
think about it at all. I don't know whether I ever thought about it a huge amount past the first season, to be honest, the first 10 episodes, but I definitely don't think about it. Like it's become second nature to me to jump on this microphone in front of this camera and do this
Yeah,
stuff. Um,
I agree. Do you
and I
remember when we
enjoy
were,
doing it. I enjoy doing it.
do you remember when we became obsessed with how many times we were saying the word
Yeah, 100%. I think I wouldn't say I'm obsessed anymore because I think I've got better at not saying I think I'd like to think so anyway. I love it now. If listeners were like, no, you haven't. Um, I think I've got better at stopping myself from saying anything and just being quiet instead. And actually, I was talking to someone else who's about to launch their podcast, and it was one of the things I talked to them about. Because she says, I said, it's likely that you will become really, really, really conscious of your language and the gap fillers you use.
Yeah,
I think it's important just to relax into it, I said, and just don't overthink it. As soon as you start thinking about it, you say it all the time. So, yeah, it's funny. Funny how we've evolved in that way, like from a tech
yeah,
perspective. I love the episode you've mentioned there. I think Bev's episode resonates really heavily with me. It was such an interesting, informative episode. I've loved the episodes where I've learned things, which actually, to be honest, is the fair majority of them.
same.
I I think I loved the episode we did with Jack Green, the ex-Olympian.
Mm,
That was brilliant. Well-being is performance. I totally agree with that. I thought that was such an interesting conversation, and to hear from an individual who had such a successful career so quickly, so young, and left sport at a time in his life when others viewed it as a mistake to leave at such a young age before his full real maturity of age had allowed him to have that career, but he recognized it was not good for him and it wasn't helping his mental health. Actually, it was doing the opposite, and how he's used those experiences he had to forge a career that had such purpose around supporting people with their mental health, their well-being in a professional corporate performance context. And actually, he's gone back into coaching individuals in sport now. And it was just so interesting. He's such a fascinating individual, so mature. I love everything he said. He's so wise for someone who, at that stage, had really, on paper, had such a big career still ahead. I don't think
yeah,
I was that wise at that age. I think I was a bit of a car crash in my 20s, to be fair. So I loved learning from him. I loved our episode with Nathan on neurodivergency as
yes,
well. That was really interesting.
yeah, it was.
And to have
I
his energy.
love
He's
that.
been such a supporter of the podcast. I really appreciate Nathan.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that just going back to that piece around the Jack Green episode, like well-being is performance, that's just been again a statement, all those three words just
Mm,
very powerfully put together that I've always remembered since that episode as well. And I think there's a few kind of learnings or messages or takeaways from things we've covered and discussed over those 100 episodes, which we really like, I suppose, kind of anchored in on or become part of our like DNA. And I think,
mm,
being clear is being kind is probably one for me that comes up a lot that we
yeah.
talk about in the sense of communication and giving feedback. I think we mentioned that probably in Probably if you look back, probably like half of the episodes that comes
Yeah,
up.
to be fair, I don't know how many unique messages we have. The amount of times I'm thinking, I'm sure I've said this before, and if anyone has listened avidly to our podcast, I'm sure you will like recognize many things that
No.
I repeat.
Yeah.
Um, but you're right. Being clear is being kind. Being unclear is being unkind is one of my favorite quotes, Brené Brown quotes. We
Yeah.
we don't own that. And I say it often. I use it all the time. It's so
Yeah.
good. It's so good. It's so true. And I
So
think
true.
I think I use the phrases that I share the most. Like everything I'm sharing, I use. They are what helps me get through
Yeah.
and remind me of what I think the right thing to do is at times. That's definitely a big one.
Do you think we have any others?
I was surprised you hadn't said it. I was waiting for you to say stay curious. Stay curious.
Yes.
100%. I think stay curious is a top tip on nearly every episode, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is.
Considering I'm the one that types out the assets, I create these assets to share on Instagram. I think I've copy and pasted many a time. Stay curious is massive for me. I think curiosity is a way to live.
Yeah.
I think it's relevant to so many things. Stay curious is so, so important. I was only talking about that this week again with a client. Um, I love it. And I think it's so important. Stay curious about yourself. Always stay open to learning more about yourself, connecting with yourself. Stay curious about what you're feeling and what you're thinking and what that's about. Stay curious about other people. Never assume. Never assume you know. You never know. Um, yeah, I think it's a way to live, man. Peace.
There we go. Done.
Stay curious.
Mic drop.
Get your
See you
curiosity. What
later.
time? Your curiosity caps on. That's what we said.
Oh, yeah, that's what we said.
The cap
Yeah.
of curiosity. That's
I'm
one of
going to
those.
trademark that one.
Well, we should have created a cap. Do you remember that time we created
The merch.
merch?
Oh my
I've just
gosh,
remembered
I forgot about the merch.
the merch that we never
Yes.
sold. Yeah, the stickers. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
those. Stuck them on
And
mugs. We had our
I
logo
loved
on some mugs.
I loved my mug. It broke actually in the dishwasher.
I just remember
Anyway.
Steve, didn't Steve, your husband Steve, have a panic that all of a sudden you were going to be investing
Yeah.
thousands in merchandise for the coaching cast and there was going to be some sort of
Shipping container
shipping
coming onto
container
the
on your
drive
driveway? Yeah, I remember
full of
that.
coaching cast mugs, notepads, all of that stuff.
We were going to
Oh
get
yeah, I'd forgotten
t-shirts.
about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd completely forgot about that as
Do you know what?
well.
I love a bit of merch. I think it would do pretty well
I
nowadays.
know. We should definitely have created the cap of curiosity as a merchandise. We could have had caps with just stay curious on the front.
So talking of things that maybe have not gone to plan, um, any things that stand out for you? I think for me, it's got to be tech. Tech has always gone pretty well, but there have been
I think
moments
we've done
where,
well. I think we've done
do
well
you?
with the
Yeah,
tech.
I think we
Yeah,
have
we've
as
done really
well.
well with tech.
But there are always a couple of things which stand out for me where we're like, either where the sound quality's not been good and you like listen to it back and you're like, oh, I didn't turn my mic up. That's been a few times, but yeah, anything else that stands out for you in terms of what might have gone not to plan?
Well, you already shared the major one when your appendix erupted.
Oh yeah,
That was
forgot
for
about that.
me probably the thing that was gone the wrong the most. And if you think about it, that would have been in episode between episode like, I don't know, 1 and 3, 1 and 4, right at the start in 2021. I mean, bloody hell, we've done well. 4 years of actually pretty high quality, fairly consistent recording. Considering also I've traveled and been recording from some obscure places and still managed to record this podcast. I think that one was possibly the thing that went wrong that stands out, as well as that episode where you lost your voice earlier this year and we had to
Yeah,
abandon the recording because you lost your voice. So
I
actually it's
had
all
no
to do
voice.
with you. It's all your fault actually. Both counts. Both counts. Um
Sorry.
Actually, other than that, I can't think of anything. I think of wasn't there that time we had a near miss where I published the wrong
Yeah,
version of an episode and
yeah.
it was the unedited version.
Oh, spicy.
And I think the unedited version may have included me sharing a few points of frustration at the time with a producer we no longer use. I think it did. I think you listened to it and went, "Oh my God, Lisa, released the wrong version of the episode. It's
Version.
the
Oh my
unedited
God,
version,
that's hilarious.
and you're saying a few slightly, possibly not
Choice
particularly nice,
things.
not particularly nice things about our producer. I think you need to change it ASAP. And I had to remove it. That was a close call. I think that's the closest call of getting things completely and utterly wrong that we've ever had. And that must have been in like what the early stages. We couldn't have been like much past season
Yeah,
3 at that point. When we were still just doing seasons actually, because we used to do this in a
yeah.
seasonal format. We don't anymore. Yeah, that was pretty hairy. That was close. Nearly. I mean, we probably could have got more likes, more listens. To be quite honest, we could have built up a better listener following. If I'd actually been my true authentic self. You think this is me? You don't know the truth. Yeah,
That's
that's the
brilliant.
thing. That was probably the closest thing to going catastrophically wrong.
Well, on the subject of listener following, we do have some messages from some of our listeners that we're going to share
Oh,
around their experience and what they've taken away from our time on the coaching cast so far. So, would you like to hear one?
yeah, let's go for it. Who is it?
Okay, so the first message I've got, bear with me, caller, bear with, is from one of our CBBs who has been probably one of the most loyal CBBs since we started, Emma. Um,
Oh,
and Lisa, by the way, Lisa doesn't know. I've created this message. Lisa doesn't hasn't heard this yet, so this is her first time listening to this. So here we go. Hi, Susie and Lisa. Just a note to say how much I've loved listening to the coaching cast over the years. It was the highlight of my week during lockdowns in 2021. I would take you out with me on long walks each week and found it really grounding. I remember you helping me when I hired my first employee. Oh, and was managing their training alongside the day to day. You answered my listener question and gave me lots of guidance. It was also amazing to be asked to join you on the podcast in the summer of 2022 for your 50th episode when we talked about women and confidence in the workplace.
yeah.
I've also loved all your bullshit bingos and song recommendations. You've given so much to people navigating today's world of work and should be so proud of everything you've achieved.
Oh, that
Oh,
is so nice.
that's so nice. Thanks, Emma, for taking the time to like put that together and
That is
send that
so
to us.
sweet. Thank you, Emma. That is so
Lovely.
lovely. Oh, I love that. Yeah, God, summer of
Oh,
22. That was when we recorded the 50th episode. God, I didn't realize it was as long ago as that.
I know. I know. Oh, I feel a bit totes emotion after that. That's
Oh my
some
goodness.
lovely words. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you so much, Emma. That is lovely. Well, I have a message to share with you as well.
Okay.
So this
Okay.
is a message. Now, I haven't listened to this because it's just come through.
Oh, what?
This has just come through. So this is from our podcast professional mentor, not by choice, James Bishop, who we just adore. I just love James. So this is one of the best things that's come out of the podcast is the relationships we've built, and James is one of those. And now he's dropped us a voice note to
Oh gosh.
celebrate. Now, as I said, I haven't listened to this and I haven't edited it either, so this could be interesting, right? Are you ready for it? Shall I try and see if I can play it? I'm going to put up the mic. I'm going to try and play it down the microphone. Let's see if this
Okay.
translates.
Well, bittersweet news to hear today that the pod is coming to an end. On one hand, I'm sure there's a whole host of people who get so much value from you and have really appreciated you making the time and discipline and consistently showing up for them to bring them value in the form of the coaching cast. But on the other hand, I guess this frees you up to explore new, exciting projects, whether those are together or separately. I know that you will bring something worthwhile to the world with the new space and time that you have. It's been a blast. You've kept this going through thick and thin. Truly impressive. And I know there's lots and lots of people who are huge fans of yours and have gained so much from this show and movement of people that you've created. Congrats on everything that you achieved and best of luck in your future creative endeavors. Sending love.
Well, I
Wow.
think that's the nicest thing he's ever said to us. I didn't think he was capable.
Oh my
Wow,
God, I'm blushing.
bless him. See, he loves us really. He thinks we're good, really. He's given us a lot of shit over the years. He actually does appreciate us. That's the nicest thing he's ever said. I'm just
Oh, thanks, James.
I'm just messaging him now. Mate, that's the nicest thing you've ever said to me. Us.
Oh,
Love you.
brilliant stuff.
What a
And that was
ledge.
live. That was live in
That
the
was
moment.
live. I didn't know. Did anyone else notice that I had that on like nearly double speed?
Yes.
So I hope that wasn't too fast. Was it too fast?
It was pretty fast, but I think we can go with it. It was fine. It
Fine.
was
Okay,
fine.
cool. What a legend. Bless him.
Amazing.
I was
Right.
gobsmacked. Honestly, believe me, guys. He's a tough critic. He gives tough love better than
Oh,
anyone I know. But if he wasn't so challenging, we wouldn't have got this far. So he is a
I
he's a
know.
he's a good guy. Amazing.
Absolutely. We appreciate all his help and support, James. Thank you
We
so
do.
much.
Thanks, man.
So I also have a little message from a guest.
Ooh, excellent.
A guest we haven't mentioned yet, actually. But a guest who's appeared on the coaching cast twice.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yeah. Very special. That's why.
Very special guest who we love, adore, and genuinely, brilliantly always offers so much value and joy.
Yes.
Helen Franklin. And I remember we met Helen. Helen got in touch because she'd seen one of our Instagram posts, no, sorry, LinkedIn post that had gone viral. When we were put a shout out for guests for the podcast in the early days.
Yeah.
And she got in touch and we hit it off. And I was like, you're fab. You absolutely can come on the coaching cast. And she sent us a little message as well. So I'm going to read it out now. It says, hi, Suzy and Lisa. I have loved being a guest on the coaching cast. Not only was it a good opportunity to consider what was important about a topic I love, performance, but it was a lot of fun. Congratulations on an amazing set of podcasts with lots of tips and insights for people to always access. Helen.
Oh,
Oh,
bless
that's so
her.
lovely. Thank you so much, Helen.
Yeah.
And
Thank you,
yeah,
Helen.
Helen did 2 episodes with us on people and performance and managing people as well and teams. So they are available in our back catalogue now,
Yeah, they are
wherever you
indeed.
get your podcast.
Yeah. And I mentioned one of my favorite episodes was with a guest who we had on the episode who's called Nathan. Nathan Whitbread, who is amazing. He came onto the podcast to talk to us about neurodiversity at work. And he has kindly sent us through a video.
Oh, okay.
He has sent us through a video. Now, I am going to see if I can play it for us here on the podcast. Bear with us, listeners.
This is like where we're still learning about tech.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
still learning about tech. Still learning about tech. What can I say? Right, I'm going to get it ready. I'm going to see if I can play it. Bless him. It's a very short and sweet video. So let's see if I can share my screen while I'm recording. Let's see what happens. Right, see my screen?
Yeah, we're good.
Cool, let's go then. Let's go.
Happy 100! This is just a short message to Suzy and Lisa to say thank you so much for having me on. I really enjoyed our conversation about neurodiversity in the workplace. It seems a little while ago now, but it was brilliant to interact with you guys. I really appreciate your perspectives, and I also love the fact there was real people there to have a conversation with. So I just wanted to wish you the best of luck, and I'm really looking forward to hearing how the next 100 episodes go. Go get them!
Oh, love Nathan.
Bless him. I think he missed the memo that we're finishing at 100, but I like his enthusiasm. I like the fact he has belief that we're going to do 100 more.
Well, we
And
don't
who
know, we
knows? We
might.
don't know. We're pausing for now. Maybe we will carry on. Maybe we won't. But bless him. With that kind of enthusiasm, maybe we should carry on.Maybe we're calling it quits too soon. You know. But bless him, what a guy. So that was
Brilliant.
Nathan Whitbread who joined us for the episode on neurodiversity. And you can still listen to that episode. As Suzy said, look up the back catalogue. It's there if you want to catch up on that topic, which is as important now as it's ever been.
Absolutely. And that's from 2023, I think, from memory.
Gosh, yeah, it could be.
Right, have we got time for one more?
Yes, let's do it. I'm loving this.
Okay.
I love a bit of ego stroking. Carry on.
Oh, yes. Okay, so let's do one more. So this is also from a fan of the coaching cast, fellow CBB. This is a little voice note from Katie.
Hi, Lisa and Suzy. This is just a little note to say a huge thank you for being the ultimate arm's length work besties. Your episodes have just been the perfect blend of wisdom, laughs, and you've totally got this vibes. You've genuinely made my work as an entrepreneur feel a little bit less lonely and a hell of a lot more fun. You've really made a bigger impact than you might know. Big love, Katie from Cultivate.
Oh,
That's so nice
that is
as
so
well.
nice.
I think I've
Thank
just
you,
said that for
Katie.
every single one,
That
but
is so
it's
nice.
true.
It's so nice. It's so nice. It is so nice though. Katie, wow, thank you so much. I'm so glad that it's been a useful resource for you as an entrepreneur and enabled it to feel a little less lonely. Because Susie and I can totally relate to this, being entrepreneurs ourselves. It is a bit lonely out there at times. I think it's lonely in any senior leadership role of any kind, but that is always
Yeah.
important to remember that you are never as alone as you think you are. There's always people out there. So thank you so much for
Oh,
listening, Katie, and being
yeah.
so loyal to the podcast.
Absolutely. And thank you to all of our guests that have joined us across the 100 episodes and our CBBs who have, tuned in and have taken the time to write us some messages and share them with us today. That means a lot to Lisa and I. Okay, so it's the jewel in the crown. It's really what people tune in for.
It's the only reason people listen. I mean, people are saying some really lovely things about the useful resources we provide, but come on, we know that in itself is
We know.
bullshit. We know that's bullshit. We know what you're here for.
Absolutely. And we're here for it as well. Let's be real. Okay, so bullshit bingos. Now, this is our most popular feature, okay, of the coaching cast of the last 100 episodes. It's been there since day one, and it is still here on episode 100. So before we offer our last new bullshit bingo, let's just spend a moment where, I mean, we've done this throughout the kind of years of our favorite bullshit bingos, but let's just do a quick recap. So Lisa, kind of, favorite two bullshit bingos. I mean, I don't even know where to start. Where are you? What have you got?
I think you'll know what these are. They've always been my favourites. They've never gone away.
Okay.
They're still the ones that make me laugh the most. Capturing hearts and minds.
Oh, classic.
That will always remain one of my all-time favourite bullshit bingos. That's number one. It is in at number one. The second one has got to be low-hanging fruit. And I think they featured in the same season. It was a strong season for
It was
bullshit
a
bingos.
strong, yeah.
They are my favourites. They are those that I will carry with me always.
In your heart.
In my heart, yeah. Capturing hearts and minds. Low-hanging fruit. They are the best. What about you then? Come on.
All right. So, ducks in a row.
Yeah, I mean, it's so good, isn't it? I love ducks
So
in a
good.
row.
So good.
It is good.
And I think I can remember the episode where we had this one, and you were living in Oxford at the time, and you had just paused in a village in the Cotswold, and some ducks had just walked past you in a row. And I remember you sharing that story at the same time as we had this bullshit bingo, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's like the hilarity. So that always stands out in my mind as well as a moment. So yeah, ducks in a row. And then I think, again, I've always been consistent on this. I think it's got to either be paradigm shift.
I knew you were going to say paradigm shift. Yeah.
It's just too much for me personally.
I still don't get it. So I mean, like,
it's just far too abstract for me. I just don't get it. I don't understand in what context you would ever say that without sounding like an absolute douche. It's just it's got to be one of my highlights for me. Yeah, for sure. All right.
I love it.
So we've got four classics there that are our bullshit bingo legacies for you to take away and reflect on, and always think of us when you hear them at work in motion. But we have got one final one, haven't we, to share? Would you like to do the honors?
Oh no, this is your baton to carry.
Oh,
This
wow.
is for you. I'm going to
Okay, well,
give this to you for this final 100th episode.
okay. I feel like we need some kind of fanfare, drum roll. We'll yeah, go with us on this. Okay, so the final bullshit bingo we have to offer you, our listeners, today for episode 100 is quick whiff. And this came in from one of our CVs, and I feel like I've been holding this back, but this basically means a status check-in.
I mean, the fact that you said quick whiff and I've been holding this back in the same sentence is just hilarious because the irony of that, really. You've been holding that one in, have you? The quick whiff. It's so good, so good. Quick whiff as a status check-in.
Yeah.
Someone's actually said this.
Well, yeah, I assume so.
In seriousness, with no sign of comedic value.
So this came in on LinkedIn message, and the message was basically like, I've just thought of a bullshit bingo for you, quick whiff, which means a status check-in. So I have to assume that this person had heard it and it had gone, that's ridiculous. Let's get that in. So yeah, in my own words, I've been holding this one back for the final episode.
It's so good. Quick whiff. I mean, oh my God. I want to work in a place where this gets used. It sounds like my kind of place I can only imagine this is said with hilarity. I hope so. Oh my goodness.
I really hope so. Fingers crossed. So that's it. 100 bullshit bingos out there into the universe. And yeah, we've loved this feature. It's brought some light-hearted hilarity and humour to the episodes. And thank you so much for thinking of us and feeding them in for us to use as part of our episodes. We couldn't have done it without you. So yeah, bullshit bingo, done. So there it is, our goodbye for now. We can't stress this enough. Thank you all for listening and downloading our episodes, for letting us join you back in 2021 when hilariously working from home was a completely brand new concept, for letting us join you on your commute to work, your walks with the dog. It's been a privilege. It would mean a lot to us if you could do us one last favour, please, and leave us a rating. Maybe, I think, it's a bit of a legacy thing. It takes seconds and it's free to do. Or tell one person in your life who you think this podcast might help. Pass it on, send them a link or a specific episode. All 100 episodes of the Coaching Cast will still be available to listen to wherever you get your podcasts.
We always like to end each episode of the Coaching Cast with our personal song recommendation, giving you energy and motivation as you launch into the next part of your working day. This 100th episode is going to be no exception. For this final episode, we've chosen a joint song today, and it is Focus is Power by Self Esteem, one of our all-time favourites. And her new album is just dope. This is like one of my favourite songs on it. So go and listen to it and remember the messaging within it. Finally, remember always, CBBS, you've got this. Bye for now. Oh, Suze. Oh, we've got tears on the podcast. Yes, it's the first.